Good evening. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM, bringing you your news roundup.
The top story on Gold FM.
The government will provide 1-month relief visas to the Iranian naval personnel rescued from the Indian Ocean. This was communicated by the Minister of Public Security, Ananda Vijaypada. He emphasized that this move is a humanitarian gesture made under international conventions and does not imply support for any party involved in the ongoing conflict. He stated that the decision was made to ensure that the sailors' legal status is ensured in a humanitarian manner while they receive medical care, without being biased to any international partners. 22 Iranian sailors, including the captain of the sunken warship Iristina, were discharged from the Gol National Hospital, while 10 other sailors remain in medical care following the American strike on their vessel. Meanwhile, the United States State Department responded to reports suggesting it is pressuring Sri Lanka regarding the handling of the second Iranian ship, the Iris Bushehr, and its crew. Responding to an inquiry made by our news team, a State Department spokesperson said that the US respects and recognizes Sri Lanka's sovereignty in the handling of the situation regarding the Iranian ships and crew, and that the ultimate disposition of the Iris Bushehr and its crew, as well as the Iranian sailors rescued at sea, is a decision for Sri Lanka to make pursuant to its domestic law and international legal obligations. It confirmed that the US is pursuing active dialogue with Colombo, noting that its utmost goal is to mitigate the threat that Iran poses to the US and its partners. Meanwhile, the United States Indo-Pacific Command denied reports that the Iranian warship Iristina was unarmed, saying it was a valid military target under the law of armed conflict. It added that US forces planned for and Sri Lanka provided life-saving support to survivors following the strike.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
4 Sri Lankan nationals sustained injuries during the intensifying military conflict between Iran and a coalition involving Israel and the United States. Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Arun Hemachandra confirmed that all 4 individuals received medical treatment and left the hospital following their recovery. The Ceylon Electricity Board will be abolished at midnight tonight, marking the end of nearly 50 years of history for the state utility. The dissolution follows a massive restructuring process mandated under the International Monetary Fund's recommendations to address the severe debts and losses incurred by state institutions following the 2020 economic crisis. Starting tomorrow, the CEB's powers will be transferred to 6 newly established successor companies. Chief executive officers were appointed to 3 of these entities. Engineer KSI Kumara was appointed as the CEO of Electricity Distribution Lanka Private Limited. Engineer NG Salia Panditratna was named the CEO of Electricity Generation Lanka Private Limited, and Engineer NS Vetasinghe will take over as CEO of the National Transmission Network Service Provider Private Limited. The remaining 3 institutions created under the Sri Lanka Electricity Amendment Act are expected to have their leadership finalised over the coming weeks. As the CEB ceases operations at midnight, all existing trade unions within the board will also be rendered void. More than 40 trade unions are currently in the process of re-registering under the new employer structures. The Department of Meteorology predicts isolated showers or thundershowers in the southern province and the Ratnapura, Colombo and Kalutara districts tomorrow. Despite these localised rains, the department noted that mainly dry weather conditions will prevail across the rest of the island. In the meantime, the Department of Meteorology issued a severe weather warning that the heat index or the temperature felt on the human body will be at caution level in some areas of the western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and the Valnia and Mannar districts tomorrow.
Now for some news in brief.
4 firefighting vehicles were dispatched to the Maharagama Fire Brigade to extinguish a blaze that broke out at a row of shops in the area.
business news on Gold FM.
Investment banks and financial analysts are warning of significant spikes in global energy costs as the conflict in the Middle East continues to throttle supply through the Strait of Hormuz. Goldman Sachs stated that oil prices are likely to exceed $100 per barrel next week if the severe disruption to maritime flows remains unresolved. The bank estimated that average daily flows through the vital waterway plummeted by 90%. Barclays offered an even more stark outlook, suggesting that Brent crude could test $120 a barrel if the hostilities persist for another fortnight. The market volatility was reflected in Friday's trading, where US crude oil posted its largest weekly gain in futures history.
International news on Gold FM.
The body tasked with selecting Iran's new supreme leader reached a decision on a successor to Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Mohsen Haidari, a member of the Assembly of Experts representing Khuzestan province, told ISNA news agency that the most suitable candidate has been determined and approved by a majority. This was further confirmed by another member, Mohammad Mehdi Mirbagheri, who stated that a firm opinion reflecting the majority view was obtained. The announcement comes under a direct shadow of violence, as the Israeli military issued a new threat in Farsi today, vowing to pursue any successor to the late Ayatollah Khamenei, who was killed in US-Israeli attacks on the 28th of February. The military also warned it would target any individuals involved in the appointment process. On the ground, the conflict continues to escalate. The United Arab Emirates Defense Ministry says its air defenses are currently responding to incoming missiles and drones from Iran. These retaliatory strikes have already proven fatal in the Emirates, where 4 citizens from Pakistan, Nepal and Bangladesh were killed. In Tehran, the humanitarian and environmental situation is deteriorating. The Iranian Red Crescent Society reports that nearly 10,000 civilian units were destroyed. Following Israeli strikes on oil facilities, leaking fuel entered the sewage system, igniting what witnesses described as a river of fire through the streets of the capital. Fouad-Zadeh, a professor at the University of Tehran, suggested the timing of the US strikes was calculated to coincide with local rainfall, creating a black ink of contaminated precipitation over the city. Diplomatic confusion is also mounting. While President Pezeshkian offered an apology to neighbouring countries for Tehran's retaliatory strikes, the Islamist Revolutionary Guard Corps publicly disapproved of his remarks, warning that attacks will continue if neighbouring territories are used by the US or Israel. Khalid Al-Jaber of the Middle East Council on Global Affairs says this lack of a unified leadership makes it nearly impossible to find a partner for dialogue. International condemnation is growing, with Swiss Defense Minister Martin Pfister stating that the US and Israeli strikes on Iran constitute a violation of international law. In Rome, Pope Leo used his Angelus prayer in the St. Peter's Square to describe the news from the Middle East as deeply troubling, urging an immediate end to the violence. The regional impact is spreading to the Mediterranean and beyond. President Emmanuel Macron is due to visit Cyprus tomorrow as France deploys warships following a recent Iranian-made drone attack on the island. Meanwhile, Oman Air cancelled all flights to major regional hubs until the 15th of March due to airspace closures. Further afield, Norwegian police are investigating a loud blast that occurred overnight near the US Embassy in Oslo. While no injuries were reported, authorities say they are treating the explosion as a potential act of terror. The human cost remains staggering. The Lebanese Health Ministry reports that 394 people were killed in Israeli attacks, including 83 children. In Israel, the Health Ministry says nearly 2,000 people were hospitalized since the start of the war.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Director Quentin Tarantino is preparing to launch his first stage play in London's West End, with an expected premiere in January 2027. The production reportedly takes the form of an old-fashioned British farce.
Sports News on Gold FM.
Moving to the much-anticipated ICC Men's T20 World Cup Final 2026, New Zealand is currently taking on India. New Zealand won the toss and elected to bowl first, and India are currently on 251 for the loss of 5 wickets in 19.4 overs. That's it for now. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM. Thank you and have a lovely day ahead.
Grace in her heart, fire in her soul. Happy Women's Day on Gold FM.